when a well is fracked, and a typical shale gas well in British Columbia is fracked with 40 or 50 million gallons, I should say liters, 40 or 50 million liters of fracking fluid. Much of that fluid comes back up the well after the fracking process, and that's called flowback. So that's a waste. It's no longer drinking water. It's now wastewater. It's contaminated. So it has to be captured, it has to be stored, it has to be transported, and it has to be put someplace safe. Real thing. This is a photograph of one of the largest pads ever. It's in British Columbia, not far from where you're sitting. And in my opinion, British Columbia has always been the experimental playground for shale gas development, because there aren't too many people around. And you'll notice there's been a tremendous amount of tree removal, a large amount of earth moving. Here's your freshwater pit to store water for the fracking process going down, and here's your wastewater pits, take the flow back, coming back up. So all this waste has to go someplace. And you better be asking the people who want to drill in the Yukon, what are they going to do with it? Do you have injection wells in the Yukon? Has anybody checked to see if they're on fault systems? And if you don't have injection wells, where are you going to put all this stuff? So this is probably a 15 or 20 well. Water quality. Nearly 3/4 of the papers have concluded that there has been water contamination due to nearby shale gas or shale oil development. What we're trying to figure out here is consensus. That's the way science works. You get a large number of scientists over a large area, geographical area, the US, Canada, Europe, and you look at the big picture, all the possible things that can happen. And you study those things over a long period of time, and then you publish. And you get reviewed, and you get criticized, and you hone in on the truth. And eventually, science always reaches a consensus, a yes or a no. In the meantime, there might be a maybe, there might be a probability, but eventually the probabilities become so significant that something is true that science declares it to be significant. Consensus has been achieved. I'm not going to sit here tonight and tell you that there is universal consensus yet. This is still only 922 papers, and many of these papers are the result of what are called longitudinal studies. They take years and years. If you're going to study health effects due to radiation or health effects due to ingestion of particulate matter, you can be causing health effects that don't appear for many years in a human. So you have to study a large number of human beings over a long period of time in order to make conclusive evidence, to get conclusive evidence that a health effect is actually true. So we're still at the beginning, but the problem is we didn't start until 2014. And there had already been 25 or 30,000 shale gas and oil wells in the US. So we might have already harmed people. The probability at this point is that we have harmed people before we knew any better.